y'all haven't seen my face in a while, and I'm sure that you've been wondering where we've been. Well, for the last couple of months, it's probably been the most incredibly difficult of my entrepreneurial life. As of February 13th, the company went through a global restructure. And as a result of that, that meant that I no longer own the company.
The woman represents herself as a ghetto fabulous woman. And here's the problem with being ghetto fabulous. If you're ghetto fabulous, your clientele is going to be ghetto fabulous. Yes, a bunch of people will come try it for a couple of times, or one, two, three times to try a couple of things on the menu and see. But when it comes to expanding your business, the people who are in a position to help you expand, they ain't gonna help you expand no shit like that. And that is why Pinky Cole is in the position she's in.
Tell us the truth!
All right, what's good, YouTube? It's your man, Book of AlphaRonomy, aka Doc BOA. Yep, I got time today. Sometimes someone has a business idea, and it's a great business idea. I love to support black businesses. I would prefer to support a black business as a black man, but sometimes they just make it very hard to support it. And one example of that is the Slutty Vegan restaurant chain. Now, the proprietor of Slutty Vegan, Pinky Cole, is quite the character. And I think that's part of the reason that her business is suffering now. And I'm gonna be honest with you. This is just my opinion. I'm a food critic. I travel a lot and I try a lot of different things. And I'm gonna be honest with you. The food that I tried at Slutty Vegan was not very good, for my taste buds. Now, if you're used to eating a bunch of other crap all the time, like if you eat fast food and then you go in there, it's gonna be a familiar taste sensation. But I don't eat fast food. And so when I went in, man, the fries were super salty. Everything just had too much sodium for me. And too many sauces and stuff all over everything. I'm a simple eater, dog. I like to see my food, and if I'm gonna have a sauce, I like to dip my food in the sauce and not have it just totally, drowning in it. And also, when I entered the door, they start cheering and called me a slut at the door. Bro, that ain't no place I'm going, man. That place ghetto as hell. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The problem with black businesses is that y'all always gotta make them so black. The hood is not black. The hood is poverty. You don't have to let everything you do represent the hood. Like, man, that is such a hood thing to do. Man, I ain't no slut. Don't call me that shit when I walk in the door of your restaurant. What's wrong with you? I knew then, bro. I'd never try it again. The food could have been delicious, and I would have never tried it again. I'm like, what? Like, who thinks of that? You know how hood and ghetto fabulous you have to be to think that everyone who walks in your restaurant want to be called a slut? I ain't no slut. I came here to eat. I ain't coming here to have sex, and I ain't coming here to sell my body. I came here to purchase a meal.
Welcome back. That is our guest, Pinky Cole, sharing on social media last month about the loss of her multi-million-dollar plant-based restaurant chain known as Slutty Vegan, which got into financial challenges in 2023. Pinky, you were talking to us about the break. You had this huge success. The people who came in to help with the company, what made you trust them?
Because I'm a trusting person, and as a new entrepreneur, an official entrepreneur, I'm green, right? So I don't know what I don't know.
So you've never taken any business courses, anything like that?
Never. I've had businesses before, but not in this capacity.
So this was truly a magic in the bottle thing.
This truly has been a unicorn experience for me. Wow. Even the bad situations, because, I laugh now because it's almost like I went to Harvard University of restaurants. Yeah. Because it cost me a couple $1 million to learn the lessons, but I did. And when I brought these people in, I was hiring for the heart, right? But hiring for the heart is not enough.
That's what I wanted to know.
You understand what I'm saying? It's important now that I know, I need to hire expertise. People who have scaled businesses before. People who have the same mindset and ethos that I do. If they don't have that, then they can't go. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That was important.
That's it. This past February, you said you were left with no choice but to give up control and ownership of your company. Why?
Financially, I couldn't do it anymore. It went from having $10 million in real estate to selling the real estate to make sure that everything was good for the business to having to fund payroll myself. I couldn't do it anymore. I could not. I literally, mentally, I was dying on the inside. And here I am. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, and I had to make a decision. Was it my personal life, or was I going to let this business kill me? And I'm not letting this business kill me. Yeah. And
I want to go back to what you were talking about. You realize.
Now, there's one thing about it. And the other thing about it is this. The woman represents herself as a ghetto fabulous woman. And here's the problem with being ghetto fabulous. If you're ghetto fabulous, your clientele is going to be ghetto fabulous. Yes, a bunch of people will come try it for a couple of times, or one, two, three times to try a couple of things on the menu and see. But when it comes to expanding your business, the people who are in a position to help you expand, they ain't gonna help you expand no shit like that. And that is why Pinky Cole is in the position she's in. Now, she had another place called Bar Vegan. It was a plant-based restaurant and cocktail bar. It was founded by her as well. And it's closing, its Atlanta location, on May 5th. Just closed after 4 years. Now, the closing is part of a broader restructuring effort within her business ventures, which includes the shuttering of Slutty Vegan branches in Duluth and on the campuses of Spelman College and Georgia Tech. Now, see, here's what I want you to understand. Duluth is a very diverse environment. You know what I'm saying? It's outside of Atlanta, about 20, 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, a very diverse environment. The Duluth, Beaufort, Swanee area, very diverse, very different from Atlanta. So I'm not surprised she's closing those. Georgia Tech, I'm not surprised. Georgia Tech is not Georgia State. Spelman, I think Spelman it wasn't gonna last at Spelman anyway, because like I said, yes, there may be some of that type of activity at Spelman, but for a university with that rich history, they don't want to be involved with something like that, especially when the owner carries herself like this. So yes, that wasn't going to work. Now, of course, you're going to say that, you want to, restructure your thing, and it's all a part of that. But you got to think about this. Bar Vegan opened February 2021, and it was great. It's in Punch City Market, which is a nice place to have a club or bar in Atlanta. Now, a quick shot of popularity, I put it like that, because they serve cocktails in very unconventional containers like Ferris wheels and fire extinguishers, and which is, I think that's very profound, and I think that's not a bad deal. But here's the problem. The woman was unfair in business. You remember there was a lawsuit out. It wasn't Slutty Vegan, it was Bar Vegan, where a former employee alleged improper tip pooling and wage violations. People wasn't getting paid right. People weren't getting their tips right. You understand? And so that's the problem with doing business from that perspective. If you don't understand business enough to not call people slut when they walk in the door, I don't trust your business acumen. Your business isn't going to last because you don't have the right frame of mind, and the proper people you need in place to help you, you're not going to hire them, and they're not going to work for you because you're not going to be right with the money anyway. Now, in 2025, she lost ownership of her business. In February, we're talking about just this year, 2025, just this year. And she was having financial difficulties, including but not limited to a $10 million corporate overhead. $10 million corporate overhead for a restaurant like that. And I'm gonna tell you what happened. Here's a woman with no man guiding her who jumped off the porch. And you know what happens? Once in the beginning, the woman has her head on straight. Suddenly, she starts to fantasize about what it could be. When a woman goes into fantasy mode, she stops thinking. And she starts feeling and living and enjoying and all of that. So she wasn't worried about the bottom line. You know how much it costs, man, to make those little fire extinguishers and Ferris wheels rather than just having a regular damn glass like everybody else? Extra money. Somebody's got to shape those things and make them glasses. You understand me? Extra money. So with that $10 million corporate overhead, she had to hand over control of the company as part of a restructuring process. Now, she reclaimed the company in March. She bounced right back and reclaimed the company, which means she probably had to sell off some shit or do something, go get her mind back right. But she purchased it back under a new business entity. And this is where we're going with this story. The new business entity is called Ain't Nobody Coming to See You Otis, LLC, a line from the Temptations biopic. Now she has plans to launch Slutty Vegan 2.0. Same concept. Hasn't learned from her mistakes. Now, Bar Vegan has expanded to Lawrenceville, Georgia, but Lawrenceville is the hood. She's starting to figure out you need to put this shit in the hood. There's the one I tried is right across the street. It's right down where my high school is. It's right down in Woodlawn, Birmingham, the hood. So in Lawrenceville, she opened that location in 2024. I don't want her to fail, dog. I hope she makes it, but she also got to understand that she got a hood ass business. She got to set that place up in places where somebody probably gonna get shot out there. People gonna be fighting at it. Those are the type of people that don't mind being called out their name when they walk into your establishment. But I want y'all to think about, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis, LLC. How ghetto is that, dog? Man, I wouldn't dare support an establishment, man, under that umbrella. If your parent company is called Ain't Nobody Coming to See You, Otis, LLC, man, who the hell would think to call their business that? It is super ghetto, super hood. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't support ghetto ass businesses, man. If I don't know you personally, you gotta be my partner. Then I support your ghetto business. But I'm also constantly be giving you tips about how to improve the business. You understand? Because being hood don't mean your business has to absolutely be just knocked down, drag out, ghetto as hell, man. That ain't what it means. But somebody should have told Pinky Cole that. But this is what happens when a woman is in control. When a woman is in control, she goes from productive to counterproductive to destructive. And right now, she's in the destructive mode. Anytime you got to start reeling back and closing things, man, that's the destruction of a business. And the reality is, now normally this represents that you expanded too quickly. And the more you expand, the more resources you have to allot to each location, which means the